Hello and welcome to Hedge Barium. This is a weekly reading for the numerology number eights. I didn't say that well, but anyway, this is for the number eights, whether you're an eight personality, an eight destiny or life path, or if you're in an eight personal year for 2026. If you're not sure, check out the description where I've got the calculations there so you can figure that out. If you're a personality eight, you're someone who's really high powered. Um, you're someone who's very much a leader. It's all about achievement. It's all about money. It's all about um, career. Excuse that car roaring past. Um, it's interesting that came through while I was talking about that, but it is revving your engines. An eight is someone who's very high powered. It is about power. Sometimes it's also about a karmic lesson of learning how to use your power of authority wisely. It's also about authority. And as an eight personality is someone who's very driven, very ambitious. As a destiny, it's a life of achievement, leadership, often to do with finances. Sometimes it can be to do with being bad with money, but uh, uh, they say with an eight it's very karmic. And oftentimes, if you're an eight destiny, especially, you have relationships with people that you knew or had entanglements with in past lives. For an eight personal year in 2026, this is very high powered. Um, I'm going to take those. They popped out where you were, where you are. Um, but oftentimes it is karmic. So if you're in an eight personal year, there's a lot of karmic things happening to you this year. So where you were, what brought you to here? Interesting. We've got the Eight of Cups. Cups is usually about the subconscious emotions. And I feel like what's brought you to here is walking away from something, whether it be something emotional, walking away from a relationship. That feels true to me. Maybe you've been through a breakup just recently. Excuse me while I adjust myself. I know I'm lazy, I'm filming in bed, I'm just whatever. Um, but with an with the Eight of Cups, especially for an eight person, whether it's the year or your destiny or your personality, maybe you feel like things just weren't good enough. I'm going with that. That's settling within me for you. Are things never good enough? Maybe you were made to feel like that as a child, that you weren't good enough, and you're constantly striving to be seen as good enough. Sometimes I go with the cards, sometimes I go with what arises in my mind. So hopefully that's something that rings true for you. I'm not sure. The interesting thing is where you're at now is the Ace of Swords. So you're very much in charge of yourself at the moment. And there's going to be opportunities. The Ace is often beginnings and opportunities, and maybe there's something you're going to get some divine inspiration. Things are going to come out of nowhere. At the moment, that's where you're at. Maybe you're feeling like uh, the ideas will come, and you can rely on yourself. You're very self reliant. And that's usually the case with an eight. And depending on the other numbers in your reading, because you could be an eight destiny but a one personality, which is an excellent combination, but also someone who self isolates, which is ironic because the outcome is the hermit. I feel like maybe you need to take some time to incorporate the ideas that you're coming up with, because you have recently uh, turn your back. Have you turned your back on family? Or maybe you do feel like you're just not getting enough. I'm not saying adoration, but affection. Um, but you're learning self-reliance, and the interesting thing is the outcome is you'll be a lot more clear on where you're headed and what you're doing. I'm not saying this, I wouldn't say this to a lot of people, but for you specifically as an 8, maybe it is a good idea to not rely on other people and just rely on yourself for the moment. I feel like that's the message. You're going to get an idea that's going to come out of nowhere, um, as to where your path should be headed. And self-reliance, it can be a really empowering thing. We all like to think that we've often got to be relying on other people in order to get things done. We'll get there if we do it together. You know that saying, united we stand, divided we fall. In your particular case, just for this week, maybe it is about self-reliance. Maybe you did the right thing. Maybe what's happened to you just recently, whether it be a relationship wake up, a relationship breakup, breaking from family, or other people's imposed ideas on you on what you should do, is a good thing, because now you can stop and say, well, hang on, what do I think? What do I want? Where am I headed? And then the outcome for the hermit, maybe you'll be in a better headspace and in a better position to make the new path something that's worth it for you. Does that make sense? But we're going to get a message from Spirit using the Between Worlds Oracle deck. It has a bird motif and I just love it. I want to see, it's more about archetypes, this deck, and I want to get a stronger idea because I am getting that strong feeling. That's what's happened. You've sort of learned, well, I can't rely on other people. I'm going to have to do it myself. I'm getting that sense really strongly. And in this particular reading, I think for you, for the 8s, that would probably be a good idea. It's really a good idea sometimes to ask other people, what's your opinion? What can we do? Blah, blah, blah. But in the end, especially if it's personal, you're the one who has to live with it. So in this particular instance, I think this is the right way to go. Don't be so stressed about either having split from someone or your family or even co-workers. You're making the right decisions, and in the end you'll be able to see, I'm okay, I did the right thing. So let's see what Spirit has to say for the 8s. Ooh, this is so interesting. Rage. With the 8s, it can often mean locking horns with other people. And it's not because you're an angry person, but you know, you're very strong-willed. The 8s are like that. Or if you're in an 8 personal year this year, you're feeling that. So let's see what rage says. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but maybe there is a little bit of rage going on in your mind. So the message is intensity, trauma, anxiety. A bird sits in stillness amid a roaring fire. This card indicates deeply felt values that may have been violated or an anger yet to be addressed. This hot gnawing, Gnawing, cannot last forever, and there is little to gain by staying in the heat. What keeps you? What hurt does this protect? It's time to either fly off or use the flame as fuel for repairs. Maybe that is what this card was about. You've said, you know what, I've had it. I've had enough. And then you've got this new beginning, and in the end, you'll be okay. Rage is interesting to me, especially for the 8. So let me know if this resonates for you. Leave a comment. Let me know. And if you can, please like and subscribe for more. I'll hopefully do another reading for you next week. Blessed be.